Okay, welcome. I trust that everyone has had a good weekend and welcome you to workshop number 2 of H.O.P.E, your Essence Navigation System. First, I'd like for us to join together and do our breathing exercise. So if everyone would please stand, we'll take a few moments to do that. It's very quick and it won't take long, like I say. So follow along with me and we will do our breathing exercise. Like I said, it's a very simple thing to do. Start with your hands here and taking a deep breath through your nose. Exhale through your mouth and reach upward with like this. Close your eyes. Imagine that place that you want to be. Expel all the air from your lungs. Imagine the energy is flowing from your lower chakra up, through, out. Positive energy in, negative out. Imagine you're surrounded by positive light energy. You can feel it. You can see the light. Where is that place that you are to be? Where are you? I am at the H.O.P.E Institute. Sometimes it takes a little longer to get where you need to be. When you get that connection, you'll feel it, as I do right now. If you're not there, don't worry, you'll get there as we go through these exercises together on this journey of self-discovery. Nice. Very nice. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do next, last week, we did an introduction to hope. And this week, we're going to talk about the chapters that you read in your assignment for last week. And then we're going to develop your honesty statement. And so, first of all, I sent you in your invitation last week and this week, I sent you the class syllabus and schedule. So real quick, I just want to just go over the class schedule with you. And again, my camera from time to time is going to go zooming in and out because I've got it automatically follow my face. So it might zoom in and out from time to time. So hopefully it'll eventually just settle on my face. I don't know why I keep zooming in and out. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the schedule with you real quick. Last week, we did class introduction. We did our breathing exercise. I introduced you to hope and did a class assignment. We talked about who you are, did our special breathing, talked about knowing the components of hope, and asked you to read chapters 1 through 3. Tonight, we're going to discuss a little bit of chapters 1 through 3. I'm going to give you a lecture on honesty. We're going to share honesty assessments, and then we're going to do our class assignment for next week. So we just did our relaxing breathing exercise, and we're going to do class collaboration. If you want to share with me, we can. If you choose not to, that's okay too. And then we're going to clarify areas of the honesty component. We're going to do some voluntary just sharing of our discoveries in honesty if we like. And then we're going to talk about our chapter 4 reading, and that'll be it. Be prepared to discuss happiness next week and some of the omnipotence discussion. Okay? So, is there anyone who would like to discuss with me anything that you read last week? Just raise your hand, and we can discuss anything you'd like. Okay, I see everybody's shy tonight. Okay, nobody? Okay. Okay, well, if you do decide that you want to ask something, don't be ashamed, don't be afraid to raise your hand, and I will bring you in. I've got you open to discuss, so feel free. All right, so last week you got to know me, you know that I went through this journey myself. You know that I have done my honesty assessment. You know that I have gone through quite a bit in my lifetime to get me where I am today. Last week, I hope that you took the time to read chapters 1 through 3. And I asked you if you have given up on filling your life's purpose, your essence. And I asked you if you had decided that you are missing your understanding of what life purpose is. And perhaps that you are missing or not understanding what is meant by the meaning of life's purpose. So throughout our life, we experience life's little lessons. They can be tremendous, they can be small, they can be small things that might mean a lot later in life. It's amazing how things come back on us when we least expect them to deliver their lesson to us that we may even remember. Many of you understand what deja vu means. Like, remember, you'll be in a place and suddenly you'll say, hey, I've been here before. And amazingly, that usually means that there's a lesson to be learned in that situation you're in right now as it relates to something you did before, and maybe even another lifetime. So last time I talked to you about this is all about self-discovery. You're going to uncover what it is you were put here to achieve. You're going to achieve a whole new level of knowledge about what it takes to live honestly. You're going to discover new knowledge about omnipotence and the ability to receive answers with that omnipotence. You're going to learn to love with a foundation of purity in your presence with all things. And once you have embraced honesty, omnipotence, and pure love, you will discover your essence, your life purpose. Finally, you're going to integrate all you have learned into a new life plan. One of the things that I divulged to you last week is that the O in the HOPE formula really is omnipotence, not so much openness, though openness is the introductory piece to omnipotence and connecting with God. We talked about affirmations, and we talked about the mastermind group. I hope that you remember that. We talked about your ability to be trained and your willingness to learn and accept change. We talked a little bit about the process of hope, about how you have to first assess your situation with honesty. You have to accept your omnipotence and the power that you were granted in your design to establish authority with the Creator God, and accept that authority, but also accept the responsibility and accountability that comes with that authority. To live with pure love in your heart and in your being, and to understand that the power and the necessity of accepting that you must have pure love in your heart, and what it means to discover your essence and then to live your essence, to develop you as the product of your life, that you are the best product that you will ever design and create a life around, that you are the product that you must develop. And that once you develop you, the product, then everything else comes naturally. We talked about the full definition of hope and how that has been somewhat misinterpreted, in my opinion, and how I came to the definition of hope with honesty, omnipotence, pure love, and essence, and how that came to me in a dream state one night, laying in my bed. That was delivered to me in a statement about how I was supposed to deliver it, how I needed to write a book about it, and how I was supposed to deliver it to anyone who would listen. And that's what I do now. So that's where I'm at with this. Also address with you how the power of the universe and the miracle of creation might be foreign to you and not to fear it, that as you go on with this development and this discovery of yourself, it will become clear to you that the answer to fulfilling life is simple. It's so simple that once you discover the simplicity of it, of the secret, you'll wonder why everyone has not known it. And you'll understand that the reason that everyone has not known it is because there are people in this world who want to keep that from you. One of the first things I want to ask you is, if there were no boundaries in your way, what would you do with your life? Who would you be? What would it look like? How does it smell? How does it taste? How does it feel? Sometimes that fits someone else's view of what you might look like or what you might be. How can so many people live in this country be so blind to what their purpose is? It's because for them, as it was for me so long ago, life has not been about reaching some future destination full of wonder and beauty. For them, life is a daily struggle to survive. They do not have time to consider where they should be because they need to figure out how to find food and shelter. Imagine this, being a 3 or 5-year-old kid. You're handed off to various people to watch over you while mom finds work because dad is a deadbeat and is never around. Then imagine your mom getting up every morning, before the sun comes up, getting herself ready, getting you ready for the babysitter, getting your sister ready for the babysitter, carting you off, having to go off to making a living, then trying to love you and nourish you and take care of you, then trying to go get you, bring you home, take care of you, go to bed wondering if she's done the right job by you, while deadbeat dad is off drinking and doing whatever he does. For whatever reason, he's doing it. Mom wondering if she's going to be able to find a man. And it goes over and over and over and over again. And imagine that 3-year-old boy is innocent and then starts experiencing these things. Other men coming in the house who may or may not be wholesome, and experiencing all of these things. Up until a certain age, you're innocent, you're untouched, you're honest. You are honest. And then you start being molded by your environment. You start being created by those around you until you become what that environment molded you to be. By the time you're in your teen years, you have learned some things. And you've begun to act on those things. Whatever your essence was, whatever your purpose was, is now gone. Possibly. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes, if you're in a situation where you are lucky enough to where, or your lessons that you were destined to learn because of your creation, the lessons that you were destined to learn put you in a position where you were able to mold in the environment of a different type, and perhaps you were able to find your essence and move forward. But for many of us, our essence was shoved into a closet because we had to survive, because we felt compelled to fit in, because we felt compelled to become a man, because we felt, because of the lessons we were put here to learn, that we had to become part of the mix on this plane into manhood. You believe what you have been taught and programmed to believe. And then you explode because you have been pent up with this anger and all these emotions that have happened over the years. You start drinking, you start smoking, you start doing drugs. Things just start really and you explode. This paradigm happens to millions of people. Doesn't, and all colors. It happened to me, it happens to millions anyway. So, and then if you find a way, you find a mentor or more mentors, and you begin to dig in, start looking at yourself. As I was saying last week, the mirror is an amazing tool to allow yourself to see yourself. Because once you start looking at yourself, you start uncovering things. So tonight, we're going to dig into honesty. So let's go over here, because before you can get into this thing deeply, you have to do your honesty assessment, right? As we were talking about last week, this is the first thing you're going to do. And I'd like to read to you what one of my favorite people wrote about honesty. Honesty, not truth, is the hallmark of beauty, spirituality, and virtue. Realize that honesty is an open-ended, flowing process that by definition is always honest. By contrast, truth is a closed circle, fixed static that insidious leaders, false authorities, and malevolent dogmatists dishonestly use for destructive, self-serving manipulations. Truth shall not set you free. Honesty shall. Dr. Frank R. Wallace. In my book, there's a story in there about a farmer who is growing old and wants to decide what to do with his farm. I'm not going to go into the details of that story. Not here tonight. You read it, you understand it, or you should. And I'm going to take a break for just a minute because I want to check on something. Hang on just a moment. Okay. The reason I did that is because there was someone I was hoping would show up for the workshop tonight, but I think she's on Hawaiian time, so she's probably still at work and won't be able to make it. That's okay. It's all right. So forgive me for that. I just had to take a break and go look at that. I hope that you guys are okay. So what's the point of honesty? When you ask yourself, does my hand have 5 fingers? Yes. Right? 5 fingers. And when I say my 5 fingers are white, my 5 fingers are all the same length, that's not honest. When you go into a courtroom and you raise your right hand, you put your left hand on the Bible, you say, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. You have a defense attorney and you have a prosecuting attorney. The facts are the facts, but they can be manipulated to meet a narrative. Here's an even better one. What's going on in our country today, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you know what's really happening. You know the honesty of what is going on in our political system right now. You must inherently know what is happening. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to sit here and try to talk the facts to you. I'm not going to say anything to you other than this. Honestly assess what you see before your eyes. Honestly assess what you see happening in the United States of America with our government, and come to the conclusion based on what you know to be honest. What you know, not your truth, because truth can be manipulated. I want you to think about that for a little while, because this is what I've been having a lot of fun with, is I'm watching these news commentators twist truth, twist facts to fit their narrative for the outcome that they want you to believe. And it's happening on both sides of the aisle. It's happening on both sides, and you can sit there and you can watch it. It's just as clear as night and day. But if you are an honest human being, and I believe I'm an honest human being, it's clear as night and day what's going on. And I honestly know what is there. I have not tried to manipulate the truth. I have not tried to fit a narrative. I honestly know what's happening, because here's the thing that you need to understand. As you go through these journeys with me and others, it's not just me, okay? I'm not some great prophet or anything like that. I'll never make that claim to you. What I will say to you, though, is that I have gone through a very lengthy and in-depth journey within, and I have read a lot, and I have done a lot of studying and meditating and connecting with God and asking and seeking and all of that, so that now I believe and I know how to honestly assess and how to understand what I'm seeing before me. So I can see through deceptions pretty clearly these days. It hasn't always been that way, but I can do it now. So I have no qualms about saying that I can honestly assess the situations that I see before me with more clarity than a lot of people. And so I'm pretty clear, I'm pretty certain that I understand when someone is manipulating facts. And as I told you last week, always challenge what it is that you're hearing. Don't be afraid to say, I'll get back to you on that. Always challenge. Always don't be afraid to be a skeptic. So there's never been a better opportunity to check the honesty of a situation and what's happening in our country right now. Never has there been a better chance. So you're looking at the story in here about the farmer and about what he did. Now, he was a little bit dishonest in what he did. He was, because he wanted to see who was the best one to manage his farm. So to make a long story short, he gave everybody bad seeds and told them to go out and plant them, and that he would check with them in a period of time to see how their crops were doing. He was the only one who did not deceive or try to deceive him by going out and finding other seeds to plant to make his crop better. He planted the bad seeds, and he went to the farmer and he was honest with that farmer about the fact that his seeds did not grow and that he was not sure what he had done wrong, that he had tried. Therefore, the farmer was like, you are an honorable man. Therefore, guess what? You get to manage my farm because I deceived you, because I wanted to see if you were an honorable man and if you would be truthful with me. Everybody else, yeah, we grew great crops because we took the seeds you gave us and went and got other seeds and planted them and lied about it. So Jose got the farm. If you sow the seed of honesty in the soil that is your soul, you will reap the fruit of your essence. That's my quote. If you sow the seed of honesty in the soil that is your soul, you will reap the fruit of your essence. That's why honesty is so crucial and is the first part of this message that God gave me to give you. What does it really mean to be honest? You may be asking yourself that very question right now. You know, children are the most honest humans on the planet. And I gave you that analogy last week. I gave you a little story about the kid who's looking at mommy's atrocious hair. And she asks, "How do I look, honey? Don't I look great?" And he says, "No, mommy, you look awful." Right? That's a kid being honest from the heart. So do you see what I'm meaning when I'm saying that? And honesty can be dangerous as well. And I don't think anyone needs to be naive about how being brutally honest can be dangerous, and how you have to be careful about your honesty, as well as being desirous and being honest in every situation, because it might be advantageous to walk away from a situation before you decide to be brutally honest. You can think of situations where someone says, "Be honest with me." You can look at them and say, if I'm honest with you, I don't think it would be good. I'm going to walk away. No one can force you to answer a question. It can be hurtful. Our oath in the court of law, to me, needs to be done away with, and we need to do an honesty oath rather than the oath that we pledge now. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Have you heard lately, "This is my truth"? Have you heard people say that? This is my truth. Well, my truth does not mean it's honest. My truth means these are my facts as I understand them, and I maybe manipulated those facts to fit my truth, what I want my truth to be. That does not necessarily mean that that truth is honest truth. All right, you know what I'm saying? So if you were to take an honesty oath instead of a truth oath, what would that look like? What would that mean? If you said, "I pledge to be honest, so help me God," when you were taking that pledge, you know, left hand on the Bible, right hand in the air. "I promise to be honest." I don't even know if you need to swear it. Just say, "I promise to be honest, so help me God." Or even don't even say, "So help me God." I don't know if God would appreciate you promising to be honest in his name. Just say, "I promise to be honest." I mean, think about how simple that is. Because honesty cannot be maligned. It simply cannot be. If you believe in your heart, if your honesty navigation system, if you knew you were going to drop dead if you weren't being honest, what would you do? You'd be honest. So if you raised your right hand and said, "I promise to be honest," in front of a judge, if you knew you were going to drop dead because you lied about stealing that car, you're going to say, "I stole that car." Knowing you're going to go to prison. In fact, if you knew you were going to drop dead if you got caught and you lied about it, you'd probably be honest and say, "I stole that car," wouldn't you? Excuse me. Unless, of course, you wanted to drop dead anyway. Of course, it's not that easy for us, is it? We have to learn the lessons that we were sent here to do. We have to learn our lessons. That's part of becoming a whole conscious human or conscious spirit. Because we're not always going to be human. We're going to evolve. We're here to learn to be able to sense these feelings that our spirit wants to feel and experience before we can move on to the next level of consciousness. We may even have to come back here and relive this body to feel more things. Many of us are overburdened with feelings of sex and drugs and stuff like that. We may have to come back and be more benign and not feel those things so heavily all the time. Whatever, we might have to come back. So what if you did an honesty estimate in front of a judge rather than a truth oath? Things would be a lot different in courts, I think. So why can't we just do that? Blind justice. Honesty, not truth, is the hallmark of beauty, spirituality, and virtue. Realize that honesty is an open-ended, flowing process. By definition, is always honesty. By contrast, truth is a closed circle, fixed static, that insidious leaders, false authorities, and malevolent dogmatists dishonestly use for destructive, self-serving manipulations. Truth shall not set you free, honesty shall. Does that not make a lot of just simple sense to you? Humans have been programmed for thousands of years to hold certain beliefs that are designed to keep you confused, guessing, and challenging your honesty. The purpose is to keep you from achieving your full potential. However, people who realize their essence at a very early age and do not allow programming, also known as brainwashing, to alter their thinking away from that essence, usually are successful in their lives. They are living their essence and are happy and prosperous. We'll talk more about that in later chapters. But think about that for a minute. For people who do not allow themselves to be programmed to believe certain beliefs, and they hold true to their essence, are going to live a happy and prosperous and successful life. Also now, that does not mean that you can't reprogram yourself, as we're going to do now, to live a happy and prosperous life. Think about people who have changed their lives and moved forward. So let's identify our lack of honesty. I have done this, you can do this, we can all do this. Remember the difference between truth and honesty. Honesty cannot be manipulated. For most of us, the answer is no to that question about how honest you are in every aspect of your life. It's not your fault that you live in a world of dishonesty and lack of character. You've been raised by your ancestors to have certain beliefs in your programming, and their ancestors taught them as well. And their ancestors taught them, and it goes on and on all the way back. I mean, I want you to think and remember about how many civilizations have been destroyed because of dishonest leaders, because of dishonest parents, because of dishonest church leaders, because of dishonest politicians, because of dishonest government leaders, because of dishonest mothers, dishonest fathers, dishonest grandparents, dishonest teachers, dishonesty. But right now, I want you to just think about the responsibility that you can take on yourself to begin thinking honestly about your life. Think honestly about you. Think honestly about what it is you need to do. It's time for you to be honest, right? It's time for you to start thinking honestly. You have to identify with yourself in order to create a new way for yourself. So how do you change that in your life? How do you change your system of living to one of honesty? Well, the first step is to accept that honesty is the most important to us in living a happy and prosperous life. You have to commit to live honestly And so this is the first exercise that we have to do. Take a few minutes and just sit here and breathe. I want you to close your eyes, relax, and breathe. Just breathe. Consider honesty. Breathe. Breathe deeply. Imagine what it would be like to be honest. Imagine what the world would be like with honesty from all sides. Think about honesty coming from within you in everything that you address, everything that you do. Okay. Now, you should have your workbook. You should have a blue pen. What I want you to do is I want you to get up, and I'm going to do this with you, but I'm going to do it in my own mirror. I want you to get up. I want you to go in the bathroom or your mirror in your bedroom, wherever you have a mirror. And I want you to take the next 10 minutes, and I want you to look at yourself. I want you to go into the bathroom or into the bedroom, wherever you have a mirror. I want you to just stand there. I want you to look at yourself in the mirror. What I really want you to focus, I want you to focus on your eyes, and you will shift in and out from your eyes, but I want you to look at yourself. And I want you to breathe without judgment. Don't pass judgment on yourself or anything like that. I want you to say to yourself, I know I have work to do, and I'm ready to look at myself through the lens of honesty in order to realize my hope. You don't have to use those exact words, but you get the picture. I want you to look at yourself in the mirror. I want you to say to yourself that you have work to do, but that you're going to look at yourself through the lens of honesty in order to realize your hope. Okay? And I want you to write down what you're seeing and feeling into your workbook. And if you don't have a workbook, which you should, because you ordered it and you got it, and you can write down what you're seeing and feeling inside here. Okay? You have an honesty assessment sheet. You can write all over this. You can write anywhere you want on it. Okay? What we're getting ready to do is we're getting ready to do your honesty assessment in here. Okay? I'll tell you what. First of all, let's go through this book. Let's talk about this book together. Okay? So first thing I want you to do is just open it up, and I want you to write your name right here. This is your book, right here. Write your name here, because this is your baby. I want you to go to the next page and read. You got the notes in here. It says, while these pages are intended to be a companion to the book, Hope the Essence Navigation System, the templates containing these pages may be used as a standalone tools. These tools provide the reader with a step-by-step process for conceiving of your essence, believing in your essence, receiving for your essence, and achieving your full essence. Live every day with an honest character, an open mind, a purity of love, and a belief in your essence. You cannot go wrong that way. Approach every situation with an honest assessment of your role in the play of life. Number 5, embrace every idea with an open mind so you can see what there is to see. 6, emanate a purity of loving thought toward every other soul on the planet and elsewhere. Number 7, when you discover your essence, be thankful and humble toward the deliverer of the message. 8, integrate honesty, omnipotence, or openness, pure love and essence into your grand puzzle for life, and you will have integrated or navigated your way to your ultimate destination, a fulfilled life purpose. Okay, so what we're going to do tonight is we're going to do an honesty assessment on the next page. We're going to do that. The following week, we're going to do what's called in here your openness assessment or your omnipotence assessment, okay? Then we're going to do your pure love assessment. And we're going to have a work. We're going to do some my power words. We're going to come up with your power words, okay? And as you look at these things, you can see where we're going to have, we're going to answer some questions. We're going to have a statement, and we're going to come up with an affirmation on each one of these things, okay? Have a love assessment with a love affirmation. We're going to come up with some power words that fit you, okay? Your essence assessment will be the next one. Then you've got an affirmation journal. And I've talked to you last week about what affirmations are, right? So inside the affirmation journal, you got a lot of pages in it for affirmations because affirmations are one of the key pieces of this thing. And it's about, and that comes from like the law of attraction. And I want you to make sure that when you're doing your affirmations that you're writing those down in present tense as if they're already here and you're already living them. Okay. And one of the things I want you to remember about affirmations is that once you have an affirmation, you have to repeat it and you have to remember it and you have to keep thinking about it. And at some point, you're going to get what's called a manifestation message. In other words, you're going to suddenly remember that you did this affirmation, and you're going to receive a message that affirmation is real and that it's here and that you're living it. You need to write it down here when you received it. So if you look on, you see my affirmation, you see the date hope transmitted, then you're going to see reality manifestation message received and from where. Because you want to make sure that you go, this is the confirmation of my affirmation. Okay, so write down your reality manifestation message in here. Okay, so you got a few pages for affirmations, and you can see there's room in here for probably 30 of those. And then you've got your life vision statement. Okay, and so what we're going to do at the end of this thing, and this is where things really come together for you. Okay, this is where you and I are going to really do some phenomenal things, okay? And when we talk about in this class schedule, when we get down into the integration section, lessons 6, 7, and 8, we're going to talk about where we're going to start developing some strategic plans, okay? And these are actually in later lessons if you choose to do these, where we're going to develop a strategic plan, where we're going to develop a life vision for you. So the first 5 lessons here, we're going through, and we're going to get to your essence, where we're going to start looking at how we're going to build a life vision for you. So, so what we're going to do then is we're going to take your honesty statement, your omnipotence statement, your pure love statement, your essence statement, and we're going to take those things all together, and we're going to build a life vision statement from those things. And this is where things really get fun, because you take all the stuff that you've been working on, and we build what your life vision is going to be. Okay, so then we take that and we can build a strategic plan for taking you the rest of the way, on your journey. So this is like if you wanted to start a new business, right? You have to have a strategic plan. You have to have a marketing plan. You have to have a value proposition. You have to have the product and the infrastructure to make it happen. This is so cool, y'all. I mean, this right here is probably worth thousands of dollars, in my opinion, for getting you where you want to be in your life. Okay. And just to give you an idea, I'm gonna read this one statement to you, and you tell me the 50,000-foot look. Read the following and then go to the next page and fill in the blanks. Remember this: whether you are starting or re-engineering a business to offer a product, or you are starting or re-engineering yourself to deliver your value, there must be a plan in place, and that plan must include belief affirmations, hope, vision, strategy, goals, objectives, and actions. By now, you should have a unique understanding of what puzzle pieces are required for any enterprise, including yourself as the main product to offer. By now, you should have a unique understanding of what puzzle pieces are required for any enterprise, including yourself as the main product to offer. The value proposition. Look at your life vision and develop a statement that answers how will you contribute your value to the universe, knowing now what your life vision requires. This is sometimes called a mission statement. What is your mission statement? The product. The product in our life plan is your life, and you describe the product. The perfect customer. Your market is some segment or segments of the universe, and you are delivering your value to that same universe that provided you with your essence. How will you describe your market? Oh, it gives me chills just thinking about it. It should you too. You should be excited. We haven't even gotten here, and this is where you're going. This is where you are going right here. Marketing. Briefly describe how you will market your product to the universe so that your value contribution will be successful. Infrastructure. What do you need to have in place to support the implementation of your strategy? Tools, buildings, people, funding. If you need a different job, then what do you require from that job in order to meet the needs of your market segment? Do you understand what we are doing here? Do you get it yet? Do you get it? We haven't even started yet, and already you should be now clearly understanding what the password to this workshop is about to do for you. All right. So I want you to now, okay, let me finish going through the workbook. All right, and because this is powerful stuff, y'all. I mean, it really is. When it came to me, I was like, I still am amazed at what I've got here. And okay, so then you have your strategic plan. Strategic plan for my value development, for my value deployment. And then you do your value proposition. I'm not getting into too many details, so I don't want to get too far ahead of us. So then you have your value deployment goals and objectives. All that's your plan. And the rest of this whole thing is a whole development of your goal, plans, objectives for how you are going to develop you to get through this thing, to develop you the product. All right. And then back in the back, there's a word on more assessments. We have a health assessment. We have a profession assessment, a financial assessment, spiritual assessment, relationship assessments, and emotional assessments. And there's some blank pages back here for notes. So this right here is the workbook. And I wanted to go through it with you real quick before we take this break to go look in the mirror. But, and I can provide you with more coaching. I've got a whole bunch of tools available for us to go through this on one-on-one coaching if you desire that. Of course, you know, I'd like to be paid something for doing it, but I can do life coaching with you on this. I have tools for doing spiritual assessments, health assessments, career assessments, all that stuff that we can go through and do some pretty phenomenal stuff, even beyond what we're going to do here over the next few weeks. All right, so right now, take your blue pen, take your workbook, go look in the mirror, look at yourself, and just with open eyes, we've done our breathing. Breathe some more, relax, go look at yourself in the mirror. Don't be judgmental. Look at yourself in your eyes, breathe, and allow your vision of yourself to formulate. Don't pass judgment. Allow yourself to look inside yourself. Okay? So I'll see you in 10 minutes. 10-minute break and go do this. I'm going to do it too.
Richard.
Hi, are you able to get on the workshop?
Well, I have a little bit more time. What time does it start?
It's already on.
Okay.
So you,
I'm just on my little break right now because I am at work. But
oh, okay. Well,
yeah, I'll get on for a little bit. I was watching Trump on the Florida thing.
well, that's okay. I'm just recording right now, and I'll just send you the workshop if you'd like.
Sounds good. If you would, please.
I certainly will. Did you watch the?
I would like to join. I'd like to join it right now if I have a little time. I have
Come on. Come on.
30 minutes.
Yeah, come on.
20 minutes.
All right, we're on.
Okay. Okay.
You have the invite. You have the invite and everything, right?
I think so. Is it an email?
Yeah, send it to you in the email with a password and everything to come on.
Okay.
All right.
I'll go right there.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Now I got to figure out how to hang up.
Okay. I'll hang up on you, huh?
I never figured that out.
I'll hang up on you.
Yeah, hang up.
Okay, so see, is my camera going to focus on me? Looks like my camera's having a hard time over there, folks. Hold on, let me clean my focus up here a little bit, and we'll get back on here. Get back going here. All right. Okay. So we just went on and looked in the mirror, and I hope that you saw something that awakened in you. I saw in the mirror a man who knows that he is trying to continue his journey, and at the same time is still stuck in what we call the anti-civilization to some degree. I am Sun, that's SON-SUN, and trying to find that again. I'm loving my journey with my people who are you, and wanting to continue to do that as much as possible. Hi, Leslie. I see you. I'm glad you could join me.
Yeah.
All right. Hi.
Hello. I didn't have to put in a password.
You did not?
No.
Imagine that.
How about that?
Okay, well, that's cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I've been on here for a little while. I was just telling everybody that we came through the exercise, the breathing exercises, and talked about what we talked about last week, just did a summary on that. And I was just going back over honesty and getting into that a little bit more and talking about what that means to live life honestly, and what we need to do for us as individuals to move forward with living our lives in a more honest way, and how that can be both invigorating and how that can be somewhat dangerous as well. And we just did an exercise where we did another little breathing exercise just to relax and to feel ourselves being what it would look like to live and be honest as much as possible. And then we went and looked in the mirror for 10 minutes or so. And this is an exercise that you will want to do as we're moving toward our honesty assessment. We want to make sure that we look at ourselves without judgment, just look deeply into our eyes and see what we see, because the mirror is a wonderful tool and it gives us an opportunity to really see ourselves, especially when we're in this state of heightened consciousness. Once we have done our exercises and got our energy levels up and we're connected and connecting with God, and we feel our omnipotence being very powerful, we can look at ourselves in a whole different light. And so when we do that, then we just take a few minutes, not even, it doesn't have to be 10 minutes, it can be 5 minutes or whatever, just kind of like intensely look at ourselves without any judgment and just kind of feel what we're feeling and see if we get a message. And my message tonight that I got was that I am Sun. And that was, my mom gave me that nickname back in 1998 when we were on the mountaintop together. And I had my first encounter with God in a very profound way, where we had talked to each other, and I had been given some very significant, powerful messages and energy. And I was branded with Sun, S-O-N-S-U-N back then. And so I am still Sun, and I am still trying to continue my journey. And though I am still stuck in what's called the anti-civilization to some degree, and I think that's part of my lesson, my learning experience, to continue to develop, to give my lessons and my messages to my people, you, and to continue to spread that message. I don't know if everyone had a chance to watch the video last week if you weren't here, but I shared with you a lot more about myself and about who I am and about some of my experiences that I have had. And even tonight, as we were getting into the discussion about honesty, I was being very honest about with you about who I am, about my childhood experiences, and about what got me to where I was on the verge of doing some pretty dangerous things at one point in my life, and did some very dangerous things in my life before I became who I am today. So anyway, so now we're at the point where we're preparing to go into our honesty assessment. And I went over the workbook step by step. And I wanted to, Leslie, I want to make sure that you understand that as we go through here together, we're going to do these assessments. And then toward the back, the most powerful piece of this whole thing we do together is when we get toward the back, toward the end, and we do this life vision statement together, where we take all the things that we worked on together, the honesty assessment, the omnipotence assessment, the love assessment, the essence assessment, and we develop a life vision statement for you. From that point on, and I want to make sure that you understand that you hear this, and I'll repeat it real quickly just so that you hear it live from my face. You are the most important product that you're going to develop from these workshops together. And the thing I read earlier, and that's one of the reasons I called you, because I want to make sure that you hear this from my lips. Whether you start a business or an engineering enterprise to offer a product, or you are starting a re-engineering yourself to deliver your value, there must be a plan in place, and that plan must include belief, affirmations, hope, vision, strategy, goals, objectives, and actions. By now, you should have a unique understanding of what puzzle pieces are required for any enterprise, including yourself as the main product to offer. In that is a value proposition where you look at your life vision and develop a statement that answers, how will you contribute your value to the universe, knowing now what your life vision requires? And that's sometimes called a mission statement. And the product in your life plan is your life and you. And you're going to describe that product. That's what I wanted to make sure that you hear tonight.
Okay.
You're the product. You are the one. Okay? So I'm going to move on now, and I want us to do this, and we're going to do this honesty assessment together. I don't know if you've got time, Leslie, but everybody else, we're going to go to this thing, and we're going to do it. So we went through the mirror, and we looked at it, and we looked at ourselves, and we developed a statement about what we saw in the mirror. So then we want to do the next step, which I want you to say to yourself that you are an honest human being and that you believe in the power of your belief system. And remember that when we get into the omnipotence piece of this thing, where you're connecting with God in a very real way, your honesty navigation system is what's going to connect you with God again, and you're going to start feeling the very real power that you have to be the authority with accountability and responsibility for your life. So the next thing we're going to do is our honesty assessment, okay? So go to your workbook if you've got it in front. If you don't, when you get home tonight, go and do it, because then you're going to do your, you're going to read chapter 4, and we're going to come back and do that omnipotence assessment as well. So your honesty assessment is going to help you to define where you need the most work in defining your character and value in society. You got to do each of the following questions and look at yourself very closely when you ask yourself the question. In the book, I ask you to look at the mirror and also to do this by sitting still and reflecting on the question and what you feel about the circumstances surrounding you. When you're done, you must reward yourself by defining a feel-good honesty statement and your honesty affirmation by entering it in the spaces provided, okay? So if you're not sure about this assessment, then go back to the lesson on honesty and go over it again. There's no hurry. This is your time, and it is your time, so you use it to your advantage. So I'm going to go over these things with you slowly. You answer them as you see fit. And if you can't give it, if you don't want to do it right now, you do it this week. This is on you. I mean, you're supposed to have already done it. That's no big deal. This is at your pace. You take your time and do what you want to do. Before we get started, are there any questions? Does anybody have any questions about what you read last week or about what we're getting ready to do? Okay. Say, I'm sorry? Okay. So, I'm in a safe environment? If the answer is yes, okay. If no, what's unsafe about your environment? That could be a lot of things about your environment. Be honest with yourself about your environment. Are you happy with yourself? If you're not happy with yourself, why are you not happy with yourself? And this is not something that says you need to judge yourself. Please do not judge yourself. Do not take action. This is the key thing here. I don't want you to do anything drastic about it right now. I just want you to answer yourself honestly about these questions. Are you emotionally satisfied? If you're not, what's got your emotions upward? Why are you in an uproar emotionally? Just write it down. Don't take action. Just write it down right now. Are you financially stable? Why not? Are you educated? Why not? Are you honest in every way? I have not found a single person who's answered yes to this, because if you do, if you are honest in every way, then I need to talk to you because I want you to be my mentor. So the reason I asked that question is because I really want you to understand how difficult it is to be honest in every way. And this is something that I think we can work on a lot, because being honest in every way can also mean this. When you know that if you know that being brutally honest with someone is going to cause someone harm, what are you going to do? Are you going to do it anyway, or are you going to turn? Are you going to walk away? I have walked away in many cases before I will be brutally honest with someone. I will just look at them and say, I'm not going to go there. I'll walk away. People like me, yes or no? The answer is no. Are you sure about that, and why? I know why I'm here. Yes or no? There's also a place down here where you can ask your own questions. Is there anything that you feel like that you need to ask yourself about being honest? I've got one down here that has to do with sex. I'm not going to get into detail, but it does. It has something to do with sex. All right. Now, I'm going to share some of mine with you in my notes. I need to be honest with myself about what I want and honestly assess my essence continuously to ensure that I am still believing in my essence and my actions to get there. Because people that know me will tell you that Rick sometimes definitely takes a left turn. And so I am, and these were written a long time ago. I wrote these a while back. So then after you do these questions, right, and you think about them, and you can write pages on this. There's pages in the back for writing notes and going into it, okay? So you should go ahead and write these things down. So once you ask yourself these questions, then you want to start thinking about how you can get to another level with these things. So the reasons you're asking why is so that you can start looking at the things that you might do to change them. So because you're being honest, and here's the whole key about this thing is when you can honestly say that I'm not in a safe place. I'm not in a safe place. I'm not in a safe place. Why am I not in a safe place? You can start thinking about the authority, responsibility, and accountability for getting out of that safe place, getting out of that unsafe environment. What's it going to look like? How can I do that? How can I go there? And when you get into the omnipotence part of this and the pure love part of this, you're going to start seeing solutions. You're going to start writing affirmations. So what your affirmations might say when we get into them is, I am now in a safe place. And you'll be able to define that more clearly. I am emotionally satisfied. Whatever it is, the reason why, the reasons you ask why you're not in an emotionally safe place or I'm not emotionally satisfied is because when you ask why, then the next evolution of that is what is going to solve it. Because why is a natural progression toward how to make it different. So when you get down to my honesty affirmation, you need to start thinking about how you will affirm your commitment to yourself to live more honestly. Right? Mine says, first, my feel good honesty statement is, I'm feeling really good about where I am and handling the honesty piece. I know I am getting even better every day. And then my honesty affirmation is, I approach every situation with the integration of honesty in my approach and how I address other people. So when you look at the reasons why you are where you are in your assessment, then you can build your honesty statement to kind of address some of those things in a broad brush. So then I want you to look over here at your affirmation journal, and if the reason that you are not in a safe environment or not, let me see one of mine. I'm financially stable. Mine's no, working on it. And then I might have an affirmation that says, I live a happy life in my twilight and I am financially stable, right? And then, and back in 2016, my reality manifestation message received from and where the financially stable part is coming together, and then began self-directed investment to build wealth quickly. Those were some of the manifestation messages that were coming together from 2012 into 2016. So as part of building your honesty, you can build your affirmation journal back here that supports the answers to being more honest. And so now what you need to do in your honesty is do these questions if you haven't already done them. Some of you already have. If you have, then does anybody want to discuss theirs? Okay, it's okay if you don't. A lot of people don't. They want to keep them to themselves, and that's okay. If you want to call me, we can have private time where we can talk about these things together one-on-one. But so build your honesty assessment, answer the honesty assessment questions, do your honesty affirmation, do your honesty statement, and then go over here to your affirmation journal and start thinking about some affirmation you can make to support your move toward living honestly. And that's what we do. We're going to do the same thing with our omnipotence. We're going to do the same thing with our pure love. And then we're going to get into building your essence, vision, life vision, and then your strategic plan for how you're going to become who you were meant to be. So that's that. And so then, to wrap things up tonight, for lesson 3, we're going to talk about omnipotence. And if you look at your syllabus, which you should have, we're going to do another group discussion on what you did this week. I want you to read chapter 4, and I want you to work on putting together your let's see, we're in chapter 2. Okay, yeah, read chapter 4 and complete the actions in chapter 4 in the book. And those include, let's see, that's omnipotence, or in the book it's called openness, but as you know, as I've told you, that there's a secret key in here that is really the openness piece unlocks your omnipotence. And so we go in there, and I want you to do your omnipotence or openness assessment. And I want you to pay real close attention when you're reading chapter 4. I want you to pay real close attention to the science on page 55, 56, 57, and 58. I want you to pay real close attention when you're reading those pieces, okay? Because this is where we start talking about resonance and vibration and the science of belief. And we're going to talk in depth about omnipotence and about connecting to God and how static interferes with you, and how the science of belief is really being tweaked. And I'm going to introduce you to a couple of authors that I want you to read. Some of you already may know Greg Braden, but I want to introduce you to Greg Braden. Not that he's going to be here, but I want you to start paying real close attention to that. Now that you know about honesty and doing your assessment on your honesty, I want you to really start digging into the power of omnipotence and what that means for us. as humans. This is where the omnipotence piece is where so many humans have taken a left turn. And I'm talking about humans by the millions have been led down a path to destruction where they just completely lose sight of what it is we are capable of. In my opinion, of course.
I gotta check out. You guys all have a great one.
Bye-bye, Leslie. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Don't work too hard. We'll talk again soon.
I just take care of my peeps.
Okay, love you.
Well, love you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So as we wrap up, know that I love you and look forward to talking to you again next week. Read chapter 4, do your omnipotence assessment. Be ready to talk about it next week. And that's all for tonight. Love you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I don't know how to shut this off.